Well, Hot Toys keeps doing it and keeps dropping the fire. I hope your walls are safe and you're prepared because it's not going to stop and it just keeps on coming. Let's talk about the next one. Hey everyone, Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another quick take, and today I want to talk about the newly released Hot Toys Green Goblin from No Way Home. This is the clean version, or is as people are calling it. And there's also the Hobo Goblin or the upgraded Goblin, so to speak. That one isn't out yet. This one was released, and we have the final pictures. This is a great looking figure. It kind of splits that dual purpose of being, the No Way Home version, even though he was only portrayed in this character for a few seconds, actually, in that bridge sequence. And then, also you can use him in your Spider-Man 1 scenario with Tobey Maguire. So I just want to kind of flip through the photos. We're going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to go through the photos here. I'm also going to pull up, we have the Sideshow first look unboxing. And then also I want to do a side-by-side of the original prototype head sculpt and the final, so you guys can see some of the differences and kind of see where Hot Toys made some improvements and some changes from the original. So right off the bat, just kind of looking at the photos, I do got to say the photography in the blogger photos, obviously Hot Toys is using other photographers to do different photos, and they really are stepping up the quality in terms of these photos and these scenarios and things like that. This is another great example from the Times Square scene in the first Spider-Man movie. And like I said, the bridge sequence, I mean, the photos just really, really great. The figure itself, I never had any concerns with the figure originally. I thought it was really great. The design of it was pretty simple. It's one I was surprised about that we got this figure because it appeared only so briefly in the movie. But then again, Hot Toys was looking to capitalize, and frankly, this line is going to be a very expensive one. It's kind of, they're going all out on this line. So in a way, I'm not surprised, but I still was. But nevertheless, everything looks fantastic. And obviously, the main thing people are probably going to be talking about is the head sculpt, the Willem Dafoe head sculpt. I said this recently. I wasn't a fan of the Doc Ock one. We got the Jamie Foxx Electro, which is a home run, and they needed to deliver, I feel like, on Willem Dafoe. He's such an iconic character and has such a unique expression and look, is a nice way of saying it. I know a lot of people advocate for him to be the Joker in a movie or two. So, but he has a very sinister look, and he just obviously nailed the portrayal of Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin in the the movies that he's played with Spider-Man. He's owned the role, and so there's been never any question. But like, man, this photo here just looks great. Absolutely, the trio. You're halfway to a Sinister Six collection here. You add Mysterio. You add, if you want to add the Sandman base from Tobey Maguire, maybe even put in the Lizard or sub it out with somebody else. I mean, and now all Hot Toys has to do, if they hear us, they got to give us the Vulture. That's all we need, is just give us the Vulture, and we have a true Sinister Six, which is fantastic. But these shots look fantastic. Like I said, they look really great. I love the idea, and they're really mixing up with the photography, with lightbox photography and some editing and scenes like this. Just really giving you that immersed experience. But it looks really awesome. Fantastic detail on the glider. The glider lights up with batteries, so that's a plus. And if you're one person that has the Toys Era Fiend, you kind of got a little taste of what the Green Goblin kind of can take in terms of shelf presence. I do have that figure myself. I'm debating about doing a comparison between the Toys Era Fiend and this figure to kind of see what the differences are and if it makes sense to upgrade. But that being said, like I said, this head sculpt is just outstanding. This photo here, they just really captured the whole sinister expression. And like you said, you'll see from the prototype photo, they did make alterations from the prototype sculpt to now, but I don't think there's any issues there. They just gave it a much more sinister look, and they did a great job with the overall photography of this figure. And like I said, the shelf presence this is going to have on your shelf is just going to be outstanding. With these photos, just there's nothing wrong to say about it. I think the sculpt looks great. It's sinister enough. The body proportions looks great on the suit. I think they nailed the color of the suit. I just think everything looks great. And like I said, they did a great job with these photos. This looks like Andrew Garfield, actually, from the suit, as you can tell here. I thought this was Toby at first, but this actually looks like Andrew Garfield. I could be wrong, but I'm looking at the back, the way the suit is kind of cut right here reminds me of Andrew's suit. So that's very possible they used him for that. And like I said, these are just, there's not much negative that you can really say about this figure. Even there, that expression is just so it's just overwhelming. I would say probably as a collector, you might have a choice to make whether or not you're going to get both figures, whether or not you want this to be your definitive Green Goblin and have that representation if you're more nostalgic to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films, or you might pass on this one and actually go with the Hobo Goblin. It depends. Or you might be crazy enough and just get both figures and have two separate displays, one with the the Toby setup and then one with the No Way Home. So it really is going to give you a lot of versatility for a collector, but it's going to be pricey. I mean, you're looking at almost, I think the deluxe with the glider is $375 before tax and shipping. So that's just something to be mindful that, the No Way Home line was always going to be an expensive line of figures. And like even here, like they're really playing some tongue-in-cheek photography, which is very just creepy. I like it. I think it's funny. It's something different than what we're used to with Hot Toys, but I think they just did a phenomenal job with this figure. I think I'm going to do a future video comparison, as I said before, with the Toys Era Fiend, because there might be people that have that figure that feel that's perfect representation and they don't need this. So I think I'm going to do some comparison video with the Toys Era Fiend to this and see if it's worth the upgrade or to keep the Toys Era Fiend as is. But I have no complaints about it whatsoever. So what I want to do now is actually want to jump over to Sideshow, and we're going to take a look at the Sideshow first look, just giving you a quick unboxing of the figure, showing you everything that it comes with. Like I said, the glider looks fantastic, and like I said, the presence on this, the artwork on the box, I mean, it's continuing with that same theme of all the No Way Home figures. But I mean, if you're going to be getting this deluxe series, you're going to have a fantastic, I think, unboxing experience. I think it looks really great. As always, the only downside I think I don't like about it is the base, which is very basic, which I probably the only concern I'm going to have is maybe the weight of the figure and if that base is going to be able to hold it and pull off some of those more drastic flying poses that people may want to pull off with the figure. But we're gonna have to see some reviews and in hand feedback on that first to see how that holds up. But you do get the double flight poles, one for the glider, then an additional longer one that can actually, hook up to the Goblin to keep him in flight. I am interested in seeing if you're able to pose him without the extra flight pole. I know the Toy Zero one, I have him in a pretty well flying pose, and he's balanced on the glider itself. So I'm interested to see that. But I mean, I think the color on this looks a lot more accurate. He really does look a lot better under the white light box of Sideshow. The Toy Zero one looks a little bit brighter. Obviously, it depends on the lighting. This looks like it's got a little bit more rust and scuff to the helmet. It looks like it's battle damaged, not as clean. The Toy Zero one is much cleaner. It doesn't have that fine detail work on it from what I can see looking at mine currently. But I'm also curious to know is the articulation. I know they do a little bit of an articulation video in here, but like I said, we're going to see what it looks like. But yeah, this is really awesome. And like I said, you can do the pose of him holding the mask and just, you're going to have a lot of fun with this figure, a lot of fun. And also this head sculpt. I mean, it's Willem Dafoe. I just, like I said, it does deviate a little bit from the prototype, but it's not much. And like I said, I'll be showing you guys that. I'm just going to skim through this so you can take a look at the glider. So the glider, once again, it's one of those pieces where you definitely got to have the shelf space. It does look a lot more detailed than the Toy Zero one, a lot more detailed, a lot more silver. I do, in terms of if this is more accurate to the original one from Tobey Maguire, it might be a little bit different, but this is far more detailed and advanced. So, I mean, glider to glider, Hot Toys wins hands down, not even including the light system that you have here. Just the overall detail of the glider, the Toys Era one is just much more basic. It's a very basic version. It doesn't have all that silver on the top. It's mostly purple, and it's missing, a lot of detail. And the system here I like actually better, that you can clamp over the feet, where the Toy Zero one, it kind of slots over and has a little peg, but there's not much else holding the figure in place. I just want to kind of skim through. Like I said, I'll put this video in the description below, but I just want to give you a final look and see that's what the Goblin looks like in the glider. I'm interested to see, though, like I said, how much it can balance without that secondary flight pole, but I don't think you could pull off poses like this. Just because of the weight of the figure is going to definitely topple. But something like this, you should be able to pull off without that pole. But, this is going to be another DTOF killer. And this is just an outstanding shot with these figures all together, especially add 3 more villains to it to make a Sinister 6. My God, this is going to be an unbelievable kind of display. So as I said before, I wanted to show a photo of basically what the final looks like. So on the The left-hand side, I labeled it the prototype. This came from JC Hong's Instagram account, who usually posts a lot of the sculpts in more natural, clean lighting versus what you see on Facebook from the prototype photos once they're posted. And then on the left-hand side, you have the final production photos that were released today. And like I said, I try to do my best to get a straight. This is the best head-to-head comparison that we have in terms of a straight-on look. But you can definitely see there's differences in the smile, the shape of the mouth, even a little bit around the eyes. A little bit of the wrinkling is different. The hair looks definitely a little bit different too. I can't really tell with the color. Got to kind of watch that, so to speak. I feel like the prototype is in a much more natural lighting versus the final could have a little bit of touch-up Photoshop work done to it. You can see the brightness of the suits a little bit different. So keep that in mind, that the final probably has some photoshopping done to it, because like you see the difference in the suits. I would think that the prototype suit looks a little bit better in terms of the darker green. But like I said, you can look at there's definitely characteristics, different wrinkles in the face, but I don't have any complaints about it. I actually think they tailored the expression to be more sinister. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. I'm even kind of looking at the teeth. Teeth look a little bit different, but like I said, we're splitting hairs, we're nitpicking, but they did a really great job of keeping the overall look of the sculpt from prototype to final, and they even improved on it to give it a more sinister look. It even reminds me when he was fighting Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the hallway, and he was getting punched and he was smiling the whole time. That's what the final prototype looks like to me. So I have no complaints with that whatsoever at all. I just wanted to do a side by side. When I do these reaction videos, I try to give you an idea of the prototype to final, if there's any degradation in the or softness. But in this case, I really think they did a nice little improvement and made them more sinister. Even in the eyes, you do have that eye rolling system, so you can play with the eyes to make it a little more sinister. And that's what they did here. But even like kind of like I see a little bit differences in the eyes, the eyebrows. I just like there's a little bit of tweaking done overall, which I said I'm not upset about it, because they just made them look more sinister. And I think with Willem Dafoe, his expression, he's a very expressionary kind of actor, especially with his role of Green Goblin. It's hard to capture a single expression, and I don't think you can go wrong with them. So I think they nailed the likeness. And I think they just took liberty on the actual expression of the figure, and I have no problems with that whatsoever. So for me, I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's going to round out the collection of the three villains. I think they did a great job with it. But like I said, just to wrap up the video, I will be eventually getting this one. I'll have it pre-ordered. I didn't get it yet, and then we're waiting for the Hobo Goblin. He should be the last villain, and then Tobey Maguire, and that really should round out the lineup, which is going to be, like I said, this is a big lineup for Marvel. They're going all in. I'm excited for it. And as collectors, I hope your wallets are prepared and you're budgeted accordingly, because this is a big line, and a lot of nostalgia here for everybody. So this is something that if you're on the fence, I wouldn't sleep, because you never know. These are great looking figures, and a lot of these are going to be one-off characters that we're probably never going to see again. So that's my 2 cents in it, but I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. Drop a like on the video and subscribe if this is your first time. And let me know in the comments, are you picking this up, or are you going to be passing on this one and getting the Hobo Goblin? Or if you have the Toys era Fiend, are you keeping that? I'll be making a video of that shortly, comparing the Toys era Fiend in depth to the Hot Toys Green Goblin. And in my opinion, for someone that owns it, do I see the Toys era Fiend as a suitable figure, or is it something that you should upgrade to and get the Hot Toys version instead? So until then, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.